My name is Doug Turner. I'm running for governor of New Mexico.
Question 1. How has food insecurity impacted your life or the lives of those you care about?
So, for me personally, when I was a kid, here in New Mexico, here in Albuquerque, my family was on food stamps. My father was in grad school at UNM, and my mom stayed home with me and my brothers. They didn't have a lot of money, and so they did rely on, on public assistance to put food on the table. I mean, thankfully today, I work, I have a good job, and I'm able to, provide food for my kids. But I know in New Mexico, and I've traveled all over the state, that is a real challenge for a lot of families.
Question 2. If elected governor of New Mexico, under your leadership, what top priorities and goals would you have to increase food security in New Mexico?
So I think, people should understand that food security is not just an issue where there is insufficient food in someone's home or an ability to get food. It's an economic issue, and it has economic drivers. So, I look at this issue as how do we create an economy that allows people to have jobs, that they can put food on the table, create more jobs, good, well-paying jobs to support families. And then how do we look at the food supply in the state? And that has everything to do with more locally produced agriculture. It has to do with management of water resources in an appropriate manner that lets us grow more with less. And it also has to do with, the infrastructure that we have in the state to distribute the food that we do have to the people who need them. So as governor, I look at all those things. I don't think anything exists by itself. If we can improve our economy, lower taxes, so there's a lower tax burden. Things like gross receipts taxes, for example, are highly regressive. So people who can least afford to pay them are hurt the most. Those are people who suffer from food insecurity. So we need to work on our economy, but at the same time we need to work on our agricultural infrastructure in the state.
Question 3, 60 seconds on this one. What is the first action that a Doug Turner administration would take to help New Mexicans facing food insecurity, and why?
Well, I don't think there's one action. I hate to mess with your question. First and foremost is a tax issue. If we can create an economy where people can actually provide food for their families, then we don't have a food insecurity problem. But more importantly, I think it is the work that is done through the Healthcare Authority to partner with food banks like Roadrunner and others in New Mexico to funnel state funds in so they can acquire and distribute food. And I think more funding is definitely easier. The amount of funding that actually goes in is very, very small within the context of the size of our budget. We have $72 billion permanent fund. We can afford a few $1 million more, that goes through the Healthcare Authority to support food banks in the state.
Question 4, 30-second limit. What is your favorite New Mexican dish?
So I love carne adobada, but I'm actually a lover of green chili more, and those two don't quite mix so well. So, an adobada burrito smothered with green chili.